This video is meant to be a supplement to my other tutorial about the drag selection. If you haven't watched that one already, I go suggest that you do, because this one only has correcting a few lines of code that already exist in the implementation that I did in the other video. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, let's get started, let's go. So I want to say that since these videos only have a few thousand views, I do read all the comments and I try to reply to everybody that has issues. So if you have an issue, feel free to ask, I'll try and respond. I go through people's GitHub code. If you email me a video, I will watch it. Like, I want to help people out. I think this is a lot of fun. So anyways, a commenter a few weeks ago made a really good point that this method of drag selection wouldn't work at all for units that are flying or units that aren't pretty similar at similar elevations, right? So you can't really have different topologies for this thing to work, and you can't have flying units, which totally makes sense that I didn't consider that because my game has ground units on a flat space. So here's an example. If we look at how that projection works, let's say that there's a smiley face hovering above the ground next to that tree. So it's inside of that red cone of vision, but yet it wouldn't be selected because of how we're projecting this selection box out into the world. What we want is something like this, where the mesh is the exact same as those little red projection lines. So as you can see here, it's a very distorted square, but it is still a square. I guess rectangular prism? I don't know. So to start, we're going to make a new array of vector 3s called vex, and those are going to store those red lines that you see in the projection. Down here in the code, right above where we do our raycast, we're just going to initialize that empty array of vector 3s, and we need 4 of them, so that there can be one red line for all the 4 corners of the box. Down here, we're going to make sure that those vectors get set, and those vectors are going to be equal to the ray origin minus the hit point. So they're going to start at the ground and point back towards the camera. Our generate selection mesh function is going to need one more argument. It's going to take in that vex array of vector 3s. We'll need to come down and modify this function to allow it to take 2 arguments. And lastly, for the top set of vertices, instead of just moving them up by some amount, we're going to add the vectors to them. And we have to do j-4 because they're being indexed kind of weirdly, which I explained in the last video, but it doesn't matter. If you completed all those steps, it should look something like this. We've got the super distorted square thing. We've got the ground turning red, and we've got errors popping up.